Start any moment. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you, and welcome to the AltadenaTalks podcast, with today being the Tony Talks segment. I'm one of the hosts, Jamal Smith. Brian is off in the background doing certain things to make everything work, and we also have, of course.
Hi, everyone. It's Tony. Good morning. And we have a special guest. Isabella Karabed is with us this morning, who is in her doctoral program at USC. I met her a few weeks ago when I spoke there, and we thought it would be great for Isa to come on and just tell us about what she's doing. Part of it is her capstone, and what she's doing as far as how it could help with our community in the resilience and recovery of Altadena. So, Isa, thank you so much for coming on. It was great meeting you that day and having the conversation that we recently had on the phone. But tell us a little bit about you, exactly what you are doing when it comes to school, your capstone. Again, I give you major props and kudos because you have definite little people that you are raising and getting your doctorate. And so amazing, and kudos to you. And then I want to hear a bit about the Karabed Leadership Group as well.
First of all, thank you, Tony, for trusting me and coming in the show and speaking a bit about why I developed the AOTA framework and the Karabed Leadership Group. So as you said, I have three little ones, ages 6, 4, and 2 boys, and my very spicy, talkative girl that absolutely draw everything I do in my life. And of course, my partner, Rafi. We are we're partners that are experiencing recovery. I have been sober for over 14 years, and my partner as well. So our journeys have really been one of, since we got help and we were recovered because of someone else, and of course our faith, we want to do the same to our communities, right? So very early on, I came in the US. I'm originally from Venezuela, and after, like I said, I overcame addiction. I went into social work and developed, continue my studies in social work, and ended up with the doctoral degree at USC, which it's taken me 7 years to complete.
Wow, that's amazing.
A long time, but
and in that 7 years, you've had 3 children.
Exactly.
Because you said 6, 3, and 2.
Yep.
Incredible. All while going through your doctoral program to get your doctorate. That's incredible. Seriously.
You want to know something interesting?
Yes.
The day that I found out I was pregnant, first I got the letter that I had.
The letter.
The doctoral.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was
that was a double whammy day.
Yeah.
Like, oh yay, got into school. Oh, I'm pregnant. Oh, yay, but I'm doing school too. So that was a good. You got great news and great news on that day.
And it's nerve-wracking, right? You're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with a baby, a newborn? Yeah. But
that's what I said. You got the school news, oh great, and then the baby news, and was like, oh, like great, we're happy, but I'm starting this program. So either way, that's great. I'm super happy that you were able to do both simultaneously, and that's a feat. So, but women and mothers, we're amazing.
Yes.
So we can do it, right? We just put our mind to it and go forth, and we can do it.
Yes.
So tell me about the Karabed Leadership Group and the AOTA framework.
So as you can imagine, I was mothering and working full time while also being in school. And what came up as in my experience was every time I needed a break, or every time I needed to, just get a little bit more flexibility from either school or work, I felt uncomfortable. I felt like I was asking for too many things, right? And so this is how I developed my capstone, based on wanting to problem solve for mothers at the workplace, right? I wanted to provide a tool, a conflict resolution tool, something that in the beginning mothers at the workplace could use to access more flexibility. And so that's why I developed the AORA framework for resilient conflict resolution. And I'm more than happy to go over each step that it takes. But the Karabed Leadership Group was born out of, my school work and just really the desire to come into organizations or places of work and offer a leadership solution to people that maybe conflict gets in the way at your organization. Maybe you have a team that likes to gossip, or they are bonding because of gossip, right? Or maybe you have leaders that were great at what they were doing, let's say as case managers, or they were great at their tasks, but have never been taught how to lead.
Leadership.
Right? So because I've been a leader for many years, I made the decision to provide and to give and to serve others with those skills.
Right. Which is so important, because a lot of times people graduate college with a degree and are thrust into a management role, but have never led.
Yeah.
And then there's the conflicts that they themselves have, because they're like, oh, I'm doing great. But no, you don't have your leadership, right? Not that you've got to go back to school and get a degree in leadership, but you're talking to people sometimes that are your exact peers, some that are older than you, some that are younger than you. And if you don't have the skills to be able to adapt to different age groups or different cultural norms or whatever, your leadership skills are down the toilet, right? And so it's really good that you have the Karabed Leadership Group, because you can literally teach people. I went on your website, but you are talking about, the evidence-based leadership training, the values integration training, which I think is amazing, because companies have their value statement and their mission statement, right? And it's like, oh, this is what we value and this is what we want at the forefront. But do they live their values? And do they know how to live their values, right? And so many companies are like, oh, right now, changing values, because there's this attack on DEI. There's, they may have people that are immigrants that work for the company. And then how do we protect these people? How do we lead them through the social norms, or I won't even call this stuff a norm, what's happening, because it's not, but through what's happening in society. And so the fact that you have created training for this, that some leaders, especially young ones or those right out of college who have never been a leader, but they're in a management role and want to climb the corporate ladder to be in senior management and senior leadership roles, that takes some training. That takes learning what that really means. So the fact that you've created that, super important. So go ahead. I just wanted to kind of chime in and have that, because the AORA framework training literally is specific for resilient conflict resolution. Let's talk about that, because conflict resolution, especially in the workplace,
tough.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So before jumping into the framework, let me just preface this by saying that at the Karabed Leadership Group, we do everything under the umbrella of three main values. The first value is that we value all. Okay, we value people, right? The second one is we believe in their potential, that every single person has a potential. And the third one is that we love them unconditionally. Okay. And so based on those three values, the AORA framework was born. And AORA, do you happen to know what that word means in Spanish by chance?
I do not. I took French instead of Spanish.
So AORA means right now in Spanish.
Okay.
Right? And so 5 letters, AHORA. And the reason why I really wanted to develop based on this time frame was because in my research, conflict resolution, the best time is within 48 hours. So if you want to resolve a conflict before 24 hours, sometimes you may still be emotional right?
Mm-hmm.
And that may get in the way, maybe some defensiveness. But if you wait after 48 hours, it may be too long,
Yeah.
right? You're going to forget details. You may build resentment.
Right.
So the key, sort of the suggestion that we're offering is 48 hours.
Yeah, because it does have time to fester. And I think about a show that I love on A&E, which is The First 48, right? And it does these active investigations when someone's murdered, and they say all the critical, and I'm prior law enforcement, so I've done investigations and I understand it,
Yeah.
but it's critical that they go and they talk to people, they pound the doors, they do the bulk of the investigation in that first 48 hours, because that can make or break finding the suspect, getting them off the streets and arrested, or them getting away, and it taking a much longer time for that investigation to come to fruition. So it just makes sense, even for conflict resolution, that 48 hours, right, is crucial. Because if not, yes, I may be super upset, and it has 48 hours then to fester and make me even more upset and angry. And then I think about also releasing stuff. I've had many years of therapy, and my therapist says, as soon as you have a conflict, within, he doesn't tell me 48 hours, he's like 30 seconds, stop. And he's like, pray about it. He's a man of faith. I'm a woman of faith, like you are. We talked about that on the call. Stop, pray about it, because you got to get rid of it. You got to release it. If not, it's going to be inside, festering and all of that. And so for management or someone in a leadership role to say, okay, this is a ticking clock. I need to address this with each individual, bring them together, whatever, within 48 hours. That really resonates with me, and it makes, to me, a lot of sense. Is Izzy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, and on top of that, Tony, people start assuming things.
Mm-hmm.
The longer the conflict festers.
Mm-hmm.
And we also found that the longer they wait, they tend to go to their manager and not directly to the person. So a question I always ask in the training is, okay, Tony, let's say that you said something to me that hurt me, but you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like me to go to you to tell you that it hurt me, or to your manager?
Mm-hmm.
What would you like?
Yeah. Yeah. Me, I'm the kind of person, I'm going to come directly to you and say, hey, can we have a conversation?
Yes.
Right? Because I've waited long enough to let the anger dissipate. But as adults, we need to have a conversation. And if that person is so angry that they don't think they can one-on-one, then maybe bring in a third party that can kind of mediate or be there. But I am that straightforward person that's going to say, hey, let's talk.
Yeah.
Because I used to not be. It would be, I'm going to let it fester. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to hold a grudge, all that. And that's poison. That just hurts you, not the other person.
Absolutely. And the more we keep shoving under the rug, one day it's gonna explode. And 16% of the reasons why people are let go at the workplace is because of unresolved conflict, and 18% of people leave the workplace because of unresolved conflict. So it's a big percentage, right?
Wait, the ones that are let go, what is that percentage? 15?
16% let go.
16 and 18 leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so the other reason that we created this framework was, wait a minute, we're expecting staff members to know how to resolve conflict in a way that builds rather than it brings down people. But you don't have a good relationship with conflict from their families.
Right.
Some people were addressed in a verbal way. Some people will maybe physically address, right? So we have to offer that to our staff. We have to offer tools, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because society is dysfunctional, and there's lots of families that are dysfunctional. I always tell people, look, there's no fully functional family. Everybody has somebody in their family that's a little dysfunctional, or sometimes middle of the road, or a whole lot. Yeah. But if you grow up with that and you're not taught that, hey, let's have a break, let's talk, or whatever, and it just repeats that cycle of dysfunction and nothing ever gets resolved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, which can cause unresolved trauma down the road, and then you have a trigger somewhere else, and then you're doing that same behavior, going off on people, snapping or whatever, and storming out, all kinds of stuff, right? And that's not going to bode well for you, especially in the workplace.
Exactly. And that's the thing. This framework is for the workplace because we have the limits of how we are expected to behave in a professional manner at the workplace. You cannot be in work and not resolve conflict and hold a grudge forever, right?
Right.
So let me briefly share the 5 steps, right?
Okay.
The first step, which is A, has two steps within it, okay? So let's say that I did something that, you did something that hurt me, but you don't know, okay, Tony? Maybe you interrupted me in a meeting, or you came late for the shift and I had to stay longer to cover for you. That happens all the time, right? So now I'm upset, I'm hurt, but you don't know. So then the framework encourages staff members to approach the person that hurt you in this way. First thing you do, acknowledge you care about the working relationship. Acknowledge you value the person and the relationship, right? So I would say something like, hey, Tony, I really care about how we work together. And something that happened last week didn't sit well with me. Can I share? Second thing you do, acknowledge what happened and how it impacted you. Hey, Tony, last week you interrupted me in the meeting and I really felt unheard. Okay? Second step. So remember, step 1 is acknowledge, and there's 2 little steps within it. Second step, hold, right?
Hold yourself accountable.
We hold for the person to see, wait, are they going to hold themselves accountable for what they did, or are they going to get defensive?
Got it.
So if I say to you, hey, Tony, I really appreciate our working relationship. Something happened last week. You interrupted me and I felt unheard. What would you say?
I would say, hey, Issa, okay, let's have a conversation or let's talk about this because I didn't even know. And I will share with you an example of me not knowing Ahora, but did this about 2 years ago with the colleague. But and I would say I wasn't even aware, right? And so that to me is me being more accountable, opening myself up to have that conversation than saying, what are you talking about? I didn't right? That's the defensive.
Yes.
Like, what are you, I didn't say something to you or whatever. And that, if someone reacted to me that way, it's on. We're ready to go at it.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, right? That majority of people would apologize by the first step. You acknowledge you care. You acknowledge what happened. The person that hurt you is like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I did that. I'm so sorry, right? But there's a small percentage of people that will get defensive. And so what the framework offers is 3 optional steps. You can either open possibilities, which means that you say something that describes what repair could look like, right? And what will happen if things improve. So saying something like, Tony, I know you don't agree with what I just said and you don't understand where I'm coming from. However, I think it's important we resolve this so that we can work together effectively in the future.
Yep.
Or you can offer step 4, which is request repair. And here you're being a bit more explicit about needing to repair, right?
Okay.
Something like, I really don't want to take this to my manager, Tony. So I think we need to get to a medium point that we both can move forward.
Right. Got it.
Now, the last step, which I think everyone should do regardless if you achieve repair or not. It's called act and align. Whether you, as the person that hurt me, agree with me or not, I want to tell you what I want to see in the future. So, Tony, I know you don't agree with what I just said. However, please do not interrupt me again in a meeting. Okay? Please make sure that next time you're going to be late, text me 5 minutes before. Right? And I always tell staff members when I teach this that if you don't reach repair, seek help. Your manager, your colleague that you trust, because you do need to say, I tried to reach repair and I didn't get to.
Right.
Okay?
Can you go out of that? Oh, well. I didn't know if you wanted that up yet. We could do it. The steps are also on the resolution page of the Ahora on the actual site. But that's so important because what I think is not only when someone learns Ahora and these 5 steps, it will be great for them in the workplace. And next time a conflict comes up, they'll remember. But this can be utilized everywhere in your home life.
Yes.
And it should be, right? Because so many times people grow up, like I said, in dysfunctional families or experience some trauma. And then there's this shutdown mechanism that all of us have. And rather than next time there's a conflict, reach for these steps to help with that resolution of that conflict, we shut down.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not dealing with it. I'm not dealing with that person. I'm done with it or whatever. And that does not help and provide for a good, productive relationship, whether it's in the workplace or at home with friends. There's been some disrepair or whatever. These steps are super important and can be utilized throughout society as a whole.
Thank you very much. I agree. And something that came up a lot when I did my initial research was that when people engaged in conflict, they would tell me, I just don't know what to say, Isa. I don't know how to start it. I don't know what to say. I'm afraid they're going to be defensive. I said, okay, I created an app that whoever goes through the training, they can access. I have a bunch of examples on how to start the conversation at each level, right? And
so do you want us to bring that app up now that Jamal had up before? Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I know that there's a QR code with it as well. That is this app literally live and people can go and look at it?
Yeah, they can absolutely go and look at it. I don't know if there's there's the QR code that you can use to access the app. If I can walk you through a little bit here, if you see at the bottom, there's a star that says flashcards. So I forgot to mention this earlier, that the way that the training is set, it practices and we role play. Every single person that does the training role plays a conflict resolution, right?
Okay.
And so we practice it from the 2 standpoints. As the person that got hurt, which I call impacted, and also as the person that hurt, which called impacted, right? And so
impacted and impactive.
Impacted and impactor.
Oh, impactor. Okay. Okay.
And so the flashcards, tell the staff members what to say in each step, but also we have a lot of scenarios, right? And by the way, if let's say you were to partner with me to provide a training to your organization, the scenarios are absolutely tailored to what you go through. So we have a pre-training call, and I ask all these questions and then set the scenarios up for that, because I wouldn't want you to practice something you don't relate to, right?
Yeah. And it can't be just cookie cutter, right? Because every situation is different. Every work relationship is different. Every person is different. So the fact that you have the call, get a little bit of insight into what's going on, and use that data that you've gained through that call to then say, okay, this is how we will approach this moving forward when we start the training is amazing. But that's how it should be. Yeah. Too many programs are out there that we've seen that are cookie cutter. Yeah. And it's like, here, this is a one size fits all. And it really is not.
Yep. We also include microaggressions as examples that happen to people of color, that happen to, right? Like, and so.
Happen to women. Yeah. Happen to people that are on the spectrum, that happen to people that live alternative lifestyles or, whatever. And the microaggressions are just heinous, and it's growing in society right now. And so if someone could deal with that, well, like you said at the beginning, when you were talking about your children, you said your 2 beautiful boys and your 1 little fiery da-da-da-da-da. Well, we use those terms, and sometimes they have a negative connotation, because I was always called, oh, you're bossy, or oh, you're loud, or oh, you're, whatever. Yeah. Now as an adult, it's like, no, you saw leadership in me, but you did not know how to say you're a leader, and then channel that,
love that,
right, into a leadership type program or organizations or program. It wasn't my parents, by the way, that did that, but other people, right, that are like, oh, you're this or that. And so we tend to hurt people with our words.
Yes.
When we see someone that has leadership potential, especially when they're young. And rather than knowing it, because if you don't know it yourself, you don't know what you're recognizing. And so all you do is spit out what you've heard and possibly what you've heard said to you, that you're bossy, you're aggressive, especially in women, Black women, other women of color, Latino women, stuff like that. Yeah, we're spicy. Yeah, we're, about it, and we're not taking your mess. But normally it's that person is a leader and will become a great leader if they have someone like the Karabed leadership group or someone else to kind of work with them to make sure it's like, you actually have leadership skills. Let's make sure you understand them. Let's sure you make sure how to utilize them so that you don't in turn go and do something or say something to someone that could harm and stifle them at a younger age, right?
Yes, absolutely. And at the Karabed Leadership Group, just to let everybody know, we offer 5 key solutions to a person or an individual or organization. Of course, we have the AORA training. We have a values integration training, which means that we take your company values and transform them into behaviors for your staff.
That's amazing.
We do coaching. We are licensed Maxwell leadership trainers, where we use the catalog of Maxwell Leadership to train your organization. And of course, keynotes. We share our stories of recovery, of resilience, right? To motivate communities.
And you know what? I was reading on the site. I'm looking over here because on my other monitor, I have it up on the AHORA page. And it says why AHORA, but what it is. But I like the paragraph that says, the second one that says, its purpose is to reduce defensiveness, prevent assumptions, and build accountability and trust so staff can repair relationships and restore productivity quickly.
Yes.
48 hours,
Yeah.
Get in, talk about it, help resolve it, get it done. Because if not, you're holding grudges, you won't work with that person, and productivity will slow down. And we know in the workplace now, managers are looking for a reason to say you're on the chopping block, right?
Yeah.
And if it's productivity because of a conflict that has not been resolved, you could very well be looking at being written up or terminated all over something as small as a conflict that was never resolved. And not saying that conflicts are always small, but in the big scheme of things, when you're looking at your job, your livelihood, your benefits, all that kind of stuff, unresolved conflict is going to be a smaller thing, but it could literally put your job at risk.
Yeah, and unresolved conflict, and in general, conflict costs about $359 billion a year in the U.S. because managers, rather than maybe focusing on your professional development, they have to be doing this interpersonal conflict resolution that sometimes doesn't really end up benefiting the staff, because a lot of managers may not know how to do it in a way that builds, right? And so
they have to play mom and shouldn't be, or therapist and shouldn't be. And again, if it's a Caucasian manager, and this is something going on with people of color, whether it's 2 people or 1 and another Caucasian person, or who knows what, right? Or if it's something cultural, it could be something that has to do with their spirituality. Whatever the conflict is, if that person doesn't have the training and it doesn't affect them, because many people think it doesn't affect them, right? Yeah. Not my culture, I don't care. Not my faith, I don't care. That's kind of how the world is. Then that manager may not be equipped anyway to resolve it, and may say something that further leads to more conflict, or that furthers the conflict. And so it's so important that people know and get this training. And I think that what you said about the values, yes, every company has a list of values on their website. But again, what I said in the beginning, you all teach people how to understand and live those values versus somebody just spitting out, these are the values, but not knowing how to implement that in real time.
But then if they are used to tell you when you do something wrong,
exactly,
like you're not aligned, and well, how can you expect anyone to even define adaptability the same as you? You can't expect it, right?
Yeah.
So you have to bring staff and train them to define the values. We used another framework called Align, and it just follows these steps that staff define the values, they apply them to their work, and then most importantly, they find an accountability person that can keep them accountable to while they are integrating the values in their work.
That's super important because I know we want to have accountability partners for our exercise. Oh, I got to
Yeah.
make sure I text you, or let's go walk together, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And other things, but we don't think about it when it comes to values, especially in the workplace, having an accountability partner.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think anybody's going to have an accountability partner their whole life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if it's brand new training and after the training, the follow up is incorporate accountability partners or whatever, after a while, you should, number one, be able to be accountable for yourself, right? And say to your accountability partner, okay, I'm good, because you've created this habit and you
Yes.
have the knowledge now that, and with it being long term and it is something that is here first, right? Head first, or thinking first rather than heart or emotions first. And a lot of people don't know how to manage their emotions. And so that, I assume, is part of what this whole Ahora and Align training does, is teach you guys, or teach
Yeah.
us, teach people about managing emotions in the workplace as
Yes.
well. Because again, depending on their upbringing, their culture, their faith, or whatever, people are taught something that others may not be. And so it
Yes.
can lead to a lot of conflict.
Absolutely. And also,
Yeah.
I'll add that every training, I think our goal is really for the person to experience what it's like to integrate the value in their work, or to conflict resolution or leadership trainings. Like role play and scenario based learning is essential in all of our learning and training.
Mm-hmm.
So want to highlight that, because sometimes people think a training, they come, they sit, they listen, and they leave. That's not how we do things. So you're going to have a lot
Good,
of
good.
fun.
It needs to be interactive, and it needs to be real, right? Because when it's not real or not interactive, yeah, you're just talking at me,
Yeah.
right? I went to a summit last week, and one of my points of feedback was it was great. However, there were panels every day, back to
Mm,
back to back. They
mm,
spoke at us. There
mm.
was never a time for Q&A. There was nothing that was interactive. So
Yeah.
it's great to get all these wildfire survivors together in a room, 200 or however many, and we learned a lot. However, it would have been so much more effective had there been interactive activities, had there been a chance for Q&A, because you've got three people on the panel that just told me A, B, and C, but I didn't have a chance to raise my hand and say, okay, so and so, you said this. What about in this scenario, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you incorporate that into your training, that it is interactive, that you do role play scenarios where the first time one person can be the victim, and I don't want to necessarily use that, the impacted is much better than saying the victim, the impacted, and the other person is the impactor. And then later in the scenario, or they switch partners and they become who they weren't. So they become the impactor.
Yep.
And they get to see how the impacted react, feel what it is that it does to them, right?
Mm.
And I think that again, I keep thinking about just society. Yes, it is great for the workplace, but this can be utilized in schools. Huge for children, even at a young age. Because I can imagine your three, even at 6, 3, and 2, they know conflict resolution at home because their mother and father are the people for the Karabed leadership group who are making sure that they understand and know conflict resolution, and quickly they can resolve it. So what will happen with them as children is, as they continue on in kindergarten, elementary school, all the way up, it's embedded in them. And so they will automatically, not only for a one-on-one situation, but they may be able to help other students in the class. And this is, to me, a framework that needs to be implemented in our schools. And it's not like you're indoctrinating children, but you're teaching them another way to interact with people. And if we have that, we may not have as many school shootings as we see, right? Because these kids that don't know how to resolve conflict, that don't know how to manage their emotions, and their thing is, oh, I'll retaliate, I'll get a gun and kill people. That's not the answer. And so it's great that you're doing it with adults in the workplace, but I think y'all should try to get it in some schools.
Yeah.
and everything. And you probably already are. And then even with families, say, hey, we have this counseling available to families, because even if you brought a family of, let's say, 4 or 6 in, you guys in no time of meeting with that family will identify who the leader in that family is.
Yes, right away.
And then you can say to the others, if they are impacted by this leader who is the impactor, or is it flipped where they come at the leader, the sibling who has the leadership skills, because, oh, you're bossy. I'm a middle child.
Mhm.
I have a sister 3 years older, a brother 3 years younger. It was me and a brother in the middle who passed away. Everybody, our entire lives, has always thought I was the oldest, because, and they're like, and my siblings are like, oh yeah, she's bosses around her whole life. I had after the fires, I had something like a town hall back in March, and my brother was there because he's a fire chief with Cal Fire, so I had him speaking. I was pulled out of the room for a minute, and when I left, he had the microphone and was speaking. When I came back, he had finished and he gave it to somebody else. So I was like, who told you to give that mic to somebody else? Because that's the instructions I gave you. Like, And I mean, I said it because this is how we've always interacted. And he literally got the mic and was like, y'all, this has been my entire life. She's done this.
I love it.
But it was like, what are you doing? And even my sister, who's 3 years older, people have always thought I was the oldest.
Yeah.
So not knowing when I was younger, these are all leadership skills
Yes.
I had that I was born with.
Yeah.
It was, oh, Tony's bossy. Oh, Tony thinks she runs the family. Really, I did. But no. But, that kind of thing. So I go back to, if this is something that children learn early on, this can reshape society. And I know you're not the only one out here doing it, but it's so very important what you all at the Karabed group are doing.
Thank you. I think ultimately why it works is because it starts with valuing the person. Because you know what, Tony, even if we disagree on something, I still value your humanness. I still value that you are a human being, that brings something to this world. And so it starts with that. Hey, Tony, something happened last week, but I want to talk because I value our relationship. I value you. I care. And so that's the main goal. And guess what? Every training, that's the step people forget to do.
And that should be the first step in acknowledging and seeing someone, because if I see you in your humanity, and if I see you you're not from here. You told me you're from Venezuela. You have an accent when you speak. I don't. That doesn't make you any less of a human being and a good person than me. I might be a horrible person, and you might be the better person of us too, right? Or vice versa. But we forget to see people. We forget that everyone has a different journey. Everyone has different past experiences in their life and their childhood experiences, which typically shape us into who we are as we get older. And so if I don't see you in just what you said, the humanity first, then I'm already closed off. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. I look at you as a Latina woman that's not from here and might need to be reported to be deported. I look at you, all the evil, mean stuff that we hear today. We huge example, obviously, for our country is what happened to Mr. Kirk last week. He's a young boy to me. He's 31. I have children in their 30s, right? But did he deserve to be murdered? No, nobody does. Dr. King didn't. Malcolm X didn't. John F. Kennedy didn't. Anyone else who's murdered, the young men in Mississippi, the 2 that they found this week hanged, they didn't, because of someone's evil or someone's hatred or someone's lack of seeing them as a human being, regardless of whether I agreed with anyone's theology, whether I agreed with what they spewed from their mouth or spoke from their mouth, or if I fully agree. I can say, okay, we can agree to disagree, because one of the things for me as a veteran, I served, so we do have freedom of speech.
Yes.
I serve, like, I'm so mad right now with ABC. I'm like, oh, I have Hulu. I'm getting ready to cancel Hulu, because how do you take Jimmy Kimmel off of the air just for, and he didn't say anything hateful, right? But if we stop and get to the point where we no longer see that humanity, and we're probably 90% there. It's going to be even more and more horrible every single day. And you can't begin to value someone if you don't even see someone.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Beautifully
Yeah.
said. I,
Thank you.
I see a question in the chat. Do you want me to answer it?
Yeah. So what we'll do, can you pop those three up, Jamal or Brian? So Marcus is on and he said, very useful information to assist in conflict resolution outside of work as well. Thank you. And then Stogieman69 says, Isa, this is a great program. And I agree with Tony that it could be expanded to the home for the entire family. And then do you do speaking engagements to share your training techniques? And I do see that on the website.
Absolutely. So we can have a free conversation over the phone or consultation, but we also do speaking. We are trained and certified Maxwell leadership speakers, trainers, and coaches. And so we can come to your organization. We can do anything that's going to add value to you, because we are people of value that add value to you by coming in and providing these learning opportunities.
Awesome. And anybody can click there where Jamal had up that says consultation for the speaking engagements or any other training.
Yep. And all the consultations are free.
Perfect. Perfect. What else can you tell us about the program? I don't want to, I mean, I could look at the website and start talking to you about everything that's on here, but I'd rather you go through and tell us. Like I'm looking at the impact on conflict at the workplace, or the post and pre or framework, what people have said.
I would love to talk about the post training. So in every training that we're doing, and I'm working with an organization where I work at that organization, that's my 9 to 5 job. And they have been so gracious to let me apply this framework at their workplace. I've trained probably about 130 staff members, and especially with the AORA framework, we do a pre-training survey, and we assess confidence to engage in conflict resolution, and then the post-training survey, we found that there's a 30% increase in confidence after only one training.
Oh, wow.
So staff members just spent 2 hours talking about conflict resolution, and already they're 30% more confident to engage directly with their teams, right? Second thing is that, so it's a 2-hour training, but of course we're offering, we're able to offer 2-3 sessions. The more you do it, the more people practice, right? And the better they get at it. But we've also been very iterative with this process. We ask the staff member, hey, what are some things you need different? So because of their voice, we created the app, right? Because people were like, wait, so you're telling me to say all these things, but what if I had an app that I could just look at? What if I am at my let's say, a temporary housing site, like a shelter, and I'm working in the front desk and I'm having conflict and I need to access something quickly. I'm like, oh, I'm going to think of an app. So that's why the app was developed. Yesterday, I did an hour training, and it was the first time we used our handbook that now we're going to provide to anyone that does the training. So it's been,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been so inclusive in the way that it was created. And we're just observing excellent results. And you can see, of course, we also offer coaching, but you can see in the testimonials some coaching examples from people that have been coached, also some folks that have been trained. But if you are someone that wants to bring us in, to partner with us and bring us, we're more than happy to offer some data that can prove, right, that this is working. And any questions you have, we're happy to answer.
There's another question.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So right now we don't have any necessarily set up, but we can absolutely work on it. Something that some organizations are doing is, they want to see So has the amount of staff members going directly to the manager rather than resolving conflict directly been reduced after the AORA training, right? So we're kind of trying to understand how to measure that, but it's a very important question because my goal is that I add value to you, right? Investing on this, and the value must be tracked and evaluated. It cannot be just verbal.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
so I would say to you is that, yeah, if your organization says, hey, in 6 months, I want us to have another conversation around where we're at, let's do it. And maybe we need another training, a refresher, or anything like that.
Do you find that organizations just use you one time or repeat, like, there's turnover in orgs, or there's a new cohort of individuals, right, that are hired, and it might be 5 at a time or 10 or whatever. Have you found, since you've been doing this, like, okay, we trained this last year, they want an annual training, almost like, how you have to have compliance or whatever. What does that look like?
Yeah. So typically organizations do a training every 3 to 6 months, right? Exactly because of turnover. Absolutely. But it's also like a yearly thing, right? Like my ideal partnership with an organization is, 3 trainings a year. Every year we renew the yearly contract, something like that.
Got it.
Alongside something I'll tell you that really has a lot of impact, and it's not just by me, but by the research, right? When you combine solutions, so let's say coaching sessions to brand new leaders with AORA trainings, with values training, oh man, all of that really helps the organization thrive.
And what is the typical size of an organization that you all have been, working with? Is it small businesses, medium, large? Like, what does that look like as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now, we're mainly working with nonprofits because that's where I have my contacts and the experience. But we're branching. Yeah, we're having conversations with all the small organizations, mid to small, from the corporate world, but we're able to go anywhere that we need to be.
Good. I thought of something to ask when, is there any follow-up? What is the duration of the training? Is it a series, or is it just like one day in and out? Because I heard you say something about 2 days.
Yeah, so all the trainings are 2 hours. And so the AORA training is 2 hours. Now, depending on the size of your staff members, right? Like, because every person needs to have a chance to role play. And for a size of maybe 10 folks, 2 hours is okay. But if you have more, we would need to do more than 2 trainings. And then for the values training, also, it's about a 2-hour training. And the leadership training from Maxwell. So we do a training called Developing the Leader Within. We also do high road leadership. Those are also 2-hour trainings. Now, high road leadership is 12 attributes of a high road leader. And we break those 12 attributes into 3 sessions.
Oh, okay. So it won't be like, obviously we talked about the interactivity and the fun training, but it won't be like somebody is sitting in training, they get to work at 8, they go from training to 9 to 4, they have an hour break, or lunch and couple breaks, and they're just like, I wish this training was over.
Exactly. That's why we said no day-long trainings. No one wants to, right? And let me tell you, we're servicing as a sector that is so busy, right? We help people and access housing. And so, but even if your organization does something else, like nurses, whatever it is, even construction workers, right? You're busy. So you need to have a high impact, short time or term training. Get the most out of the short time that you're going to dedicate to it. And that's our promise.
Yeah. So you did just answer that other question that Marcus had. What areas do you service? Because I know earlier you said you come where you're needed. Yep. And you just mentioned, doesn't matter if it's nursing, construction, or whatever, you will go within those areas. And I guess, is it because no matter what the sector is, conflicts are, and I won't say the same, but conflicts have a pattern, right? And so that's why there's a framework for the resolution, no matter what sector or industry.
Yeah. What changes is the
Okay.
scenarios, because I want to make sure that you're
Mm,
emotionally invested and you get
got it.
excited when you read something that has happened to you, right? And
Yeah.
I want to do that one, because we look at all the scenarios and people are like, oh my gosh, that happened to me. So that's why we have pre-training calls with the
Yeah.
HR manager or whomever is hiring our services.
Yeah.
But we also
And
do
then
it online. Let me just clarify that.
you do what online? I'm sorry.
We also do the trainings. They're all set up to be online as well.
Oh, you have virtual sessions that people can attend. Oh, great. Um, so I know you mentioned you have the companion app. Oh, no, go ahead. I can wait. Do you train more staff than leadership, or are both trained when you go to an organization?
I would say that it's organizations in general do offer leadership training, and when they partner with us, is maybe to add an additional layer to training staff on leadership. And so, but most organizations have already had some leadership training to their staff. I think that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Let me piggyback on that. When you do your Aurora training,
Yeah.
Ahora.
is it is it primarily for just staff, or is it for the leadership as well, or are they both trained at the same time?
Excellent question. Actually, we are developing an Ahora leader training right now. But right now, if let's say you partner with me, everyone will be together. But the goal is that we do a leadership training on the side for leaders, because leaders need to know how to coach their staff on the framework if they come to them with a conflict.
Yeah, that's great. And you may have mentioned it before, but
Yeah.
this sounds like, because it's such a specific technique, you
Yeah.
might incorporate certifications once everybody is completed, kind of like Six Sigma or, that kind of thing. Is that
Yes,
something that you already have or you're moving towards?
absolutely. As it's something, it's in our minds, right? And as more resources come to our organization, we will definitely think about that.
Oh, that's beautiful. One last comment at this time. I see a correlation between this type of training for conflict resolution with sales. I've been in sales for quite a while, with overcoming objections
Yeah.
and really understanding, like, if you're trying to sell to someone,
Yeah.
it's truly important, or the most effective way to sell to them is to truly understand, their needs, where they're coming from.
Yes.
And oftentimes, the true objection overcoming is the best part of training, where you get to really see why they're kind of pushing back. And I see some similarities to that with your
Mm.
training. So I just
Thank
want
you
to throw
for
that out
sharing
there.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll think about it. Marcus, the
Thanks,
ideal,
Jamal.
he's asking the ideal size for training groups. Well, like I said, I think 2 hours would be the max time of training, and it would be 10 to 12 folks, because we do want to make sure that people practice the,
Mhm.
the scenarios, and also other people learn, right, from others practicing their scenarios. So, yeah, 10 to 12.
Thank you. So I just want to do a quick recap of something.
Yes.
You have in-person, scenario-based,
Yes.
interactive training that are 2-hour sessions. You have online virtual training. You have a companion app, and it sounds like you said you have a companion workbook as well that you have developed and are starting to give out.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really good though, because then that app, everybody uses phones and apps for everything. And then if I have a workbook, people do a lot of journaling. So I can say, oh, okay, I have this tangible right here that I've written my responses to a scenario, or my response to being the impacted one, right? So I can go back at that at some point and kind of have a refresher for myself when I may have a conflict, or I just want to, take a look at something. So that's really good.
And we have prep sheets, so people
Oh,
can prep before they have engaged into conflict by knowing what to say at each step.
Oh, nice. That walks you all the way through the Ojota steps.
Mhm.
Very good. Well, I know we're coming up on an hour. We started probably 4 after or something. We're about 6 minutes away, 5.5 minutes away. And we try to make sure we keep it to that with our guests so that we don't overrun. People have appointments and other things they need to do. So I know I just kind of summarized all of that, but what do you want people to take away as an overall summarization? Is there anything from next steps that you believe people need to know from you? What do you want to people to take away from you being our guest today, Isa?
First of all, I'm so grateful for the time. I've had a blast talking to you. I think we have some connection that I
Definitely.
appreciate. And I want all to know that I think it's time that people deserve to be led well. And the Karabed Leadership Group is really here to equip and prep you by number one, teaching folks how to value everyone. And when we
Yeah.
disagree, giving you the tools that you need to acknowledge each other in a way that builds rather than it brings you down. So, but I think it's time. Leadership is influence, and we're here to help you lead the best way you can.
Thank you. That's important, right? To have great leaders, to feel seen and valued and listened to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Isa. Really appreciate it. We'll be in touch. We'll
Okay.
Thank you,
probably
Isa.
bring you back on at some point.
Happy to share my story with you.
And we may even set something up that we can bring you all in for people, because I obviously, with the resiliency or with the recovery of Altadena, there's still lots and lots of conflicts and people just are not getting along and upset with each other.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get with the county or the Parks and Recs and have a session of Ahora
Absolutely.
somewhere soon. That would be something that I could see being utilized in our community and would be a great benefit.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
All right. Bye, Isa. Have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, that was very nice. I didn't know what to expect from that. Very informative. I think her techniques, the training and everything is really needed. There are various trainings out there that kind of tackle this subject matter, but I like her approach. Just really
I did
going
too.
to the source when you have a problem, in particular, in the workplace, but approaching it not confrontationally, but hey,
Yeah.
just, acknowledging, hey, there's a situation here. This is what happened. This is why I felt this way. Just want to kind of resolve it so we don't have to come here again, without having to go, like some people, kind of just go straight to the management
Yep.
and, go to the higher ups and just try to get you in trouble.
I
Great
think
show,
a
Tony.
lot
I'm
of,
glad you found her.
yeah.
Or
Hey,
y'all
it
found each
was
other.
yeah, exactly. She's great. We met a few weeks ago when I went to USC. And I was on that panel, and she was one of the first people to come up to me. Another young lady, but she was having surgery, but I want to bring her on too. So all the people that I was speaking to are in their doctoral program. She literally is at the end. She has a semester left. Others have a year left, a year and a half or whatever. But she was like, I think we can talk. I want to talk to you about my capstone, all of this stuff. So we exchanged numbers and we had a conversation about a week and a half ago. And it was great. We were on the phone like a good hour, just chopping it up and talking about our faith and all of this. And then the bus was dropping the kids off, and I heard them coming in. I said goodbye.
Yeah,
I will
like
talk
peace
to you
out.
another day. Right. You got
Yeah,
little
you about
people.
to
They
get to
need you.
work.
Exactly. But she's great. She's very calm and her voice is very soothing and calming. And so I think it was a added value to have her on today. And I would love to maybe see if the county wants to work with them and bring something up at La Malta Park to just talk to people, right? Or do
Awesome.
this scenario, because people are very angry still. And I've said if you hold on to that and fester, it can really damage you inside. But we're trying to make sure neighbors are okay with one another, right? And because you think that everybody failed and somebody over here doesn't, right? Or they have a different perspective of the fire or the recovery or whatever, there's people super angry at each other. Um, and so, we went up to that summit last week, and Zaire Calvin was there. And, he came on our show that one day. And I was like, I'm done with Zaire. And we were fact checking him in real time. And I hadn't spoken. I've seen Zaire in person several times since then. And what little issue that happened at my town hall. And I have not spoken to Zaire at all since March. Because I'm like, when I say I'm done, I'm done. Like, basically, F Zaire, right? So the whole time at the summit, we were standing next to each other sometime. I act like he was invisible because I had said he's now invisible to me. And so God worked it out where I was leaving, and I knew I was leaving on Thursday from the time we got our tickets. Most people were leaving on Friday, but me and another young lady who were leaving, we decided to carpool. They had given us each other's contacts before. And so then Taylor said she wished she could leave the day before. I said, well, change your flight and come with us. We're leaving right afterwards, right? He overheard that conversation and he asked the girl, Alex, could he ride with us to the airport? And I guess he changed his flight. So now we're all in the same car. We take the train after we drop off the car, that tram, at San Francisco Airport, to Terminal C and D. Well, Taylor and Alex were in Terminal C. Me and Zaire stayed on the train and got off in Terminal D. Had to walk up, go through all this. And so we're walking and I'm still like, basically, you're invisible, right? But it worked out that we got to have that conversation. And I said to him, look, we need to talk because we're both doing everything we can for Altadena. But what you did was wrong. And this is how it made me feel. And I don't like it. That's why I have not spoken to you in 6 months, right? And he was like, that wasn't my intent. I said, but you know what you did. Because I had to take that mic from you and I had to say this. And then you told somebody to come speak that was not invited by me and all this. And so he apologized because I told him, I said, you absolutely owe me an apology. And, all of this. So we were able to resolve that where now he's not invisible. And if I needed to collaborate with him or work with him on something, I would. But we hadn't had a chance to have that conversation. So even in what she's saying now, like we weren't shouting and upset with each other, but I called him on the carpet for his stuff, right? Because this is what you did. This is what you said. I don't like it. You owe me an apology. He did apologize. He said, I'm sorry. And that was never my intent, and all this. And so, yeah, we're good. It's all good. Yeah, Marcus, that we cleared some air. No, we cleared it. We cleared the conflict altogether. Because that's what I believe in, because I'm going to talk to people and say, look, we need to have a conversation. And that's what I did while we were at the airport. And then we wound up going in the Amex lounge together and eating and laughing and all this kind of stuff. So it was a good thing that he overheard the conversation. We were leaving early, asked, got in the car with us, and then we had time together to talk. So yeah, but I think what they're doing is great. Could be utilized well in Altadena and maybe Palisades or whatever.
Yeah, we definitely, if we can find a way to make that happen, I think we should. So, if we could be part of it, because we do have a little more influence now than we did at the very beginning of this, in particular you, because your face has been, the face of Altadena Talks, and you've been out there, quite a bit, and, you do get on the panels and what have you. So, but our voice can be heard. And
the reason why I'm on panels and stuff is because I talk, right? Not only here, but I talk more than anybody. Brian is definitely out there more than me, but he's filming, he's interviewing people, he's going and he's doing all that stuff. But that's the great part about the three of us and what our niche is or how we interact with the community or whatever. But apparently he's had more technical difficulties today, like, he's had this week and I had yesterday. But I agree with you, Jamal. And if I can work with the county to get them in and maybe have a session or something at the park or somewhere, I think this would be amazing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it was funny that I saw the parallel with the sales, because we used to have, each organization I've been with, they've had, organizations that deal with sales training come in. And it's always a very similar kind of concept, especially when someone says no to your first offer, because then you got to figure out, why are you saying no? What's the true problem and what have you? However, when you're dealing with sales, you kind of have to attack it right away. When you're dealing with everyday kind of stuff or just regular inner office issues, there's no true protocol. Different people deal with it differently. However, if you have a program that you can kind of use as a guideline, the whole
Mm-hmm.
organization is aware of it. I think that will reduce a lot of issues, and I think just through osmosis, if people do incorporate it at work, it's automatically going to bleed into every other aspect of their life. They'll deal with things differently, and I think the people around them will see it, and it might, kind of rub off on them, so to speak. Yeah, we all need to.
Definitely.
Marcus.
But this was a good lesson or reminder for me because of the fact that, like I just stated, it's been since March. I hadn't even spoken to Zaire. And had I called him within 48 hours and dealt with it then, it wouldn't have been that, because there's some stuff we probably could be collaborating on between those months, right? So for her to say that, I could only go back to, I watch First 48 all the time, right? Because I like that show, and it's that same 48-hour time frame, or dealing with it before you make somebody or something invisible because of it, right? So so this is a really, really good, for me personally, session. I feel like I just got a horad.
You got right now.
Right, I got right now trained. Which is perfect. Like, I'm a person that will always admit, like, I was wrong, or whatever, right? And you guys forgive me. I woke up full of congestion this morning. This ear, I could barely, it's blocked up and all that. So I'm kind of low energy just because I'm trying to deal with it. And I keep drinking tea with mullein and all that in it to try to get cleared up. But today I'm a little low energy, so I apologize. But yeah, I'm glad that she came on. Really glad that I met her, and really glad that she came on, and looking forward to maybe collaborating with them on something in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a few things going on today that I want to kind of touch on. I'm not going to do the whole gambit of things. So I'm going to jump into the slides right now. And forgive me, folks, as I advance through some of these, because I didn't change the order like I normally do. So I'm going to skip some as we go through it and, pause on others. So here we go with the slides and announcements. So the first thing I want to start with is the new environmental assessment results, which are available on the post-fire dashboard from LA County Public Health. It's an update that's the assessment dashboard is updated continually as new assessment results are made available. Just wanted to make sure that you guys had access to this, to see this. It's pretty interesting information. There's a lot of stuff there. If you just go to AltadenaTalks.org/post fire, you can actually get that information there. Also wanted to comment about the change of mailing address. This is something I saw several posts recently over the past couple of days addressing this. So, and this is from the assessor's office, Jeff Prang, the LA County assessor. Homeowners who have experienced property loss due to the Eaton or Palisades fires are urged to update your current mailing address to ensure delivery of important property assessments and tax-related documents, including property tax refunds. The updating a mailing address does not change the official records or status of the property's physical location. And I emphasize mailing address is what I'm talking about now that you update. It simply ensures that important tax notices and documents, including refunds, are delivered to the address where they can be received. This could potentially be an issue if you haven't updated it, but if this is the situation for you, then to update your email address, your mailing address, you want to visit the website below. It's assessor.lacounty.gov/homeowners/change-mailing-address. You can create an assessor's e-service account where they can submit the change of mailing address form online if you are a property owner. Definitely wanted to cover that. Now we're going to jump into some events. So definitely want to talk about LA Fire Justice has their 2 events. Well, the first one is over because it's from 10 to 11 a.m. The next one will be from 12 to 1 at Pinocchio's Pizza. This is business chats, where if you have a business that was affected by the fire, you can speak with the attorneys at LA Fire Justice. At Pinocchio's Pizza again at 1449 North Lake Avenue in Pasadena. Let's skip. So tonight from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the annual park community meeting. It's going to be at Loma Alta Park, which is at 3330 North Lincoln Avenue in Altadena, and it will be inside the gymnasium. Come meet the park staff, learn about upcoming events, programs, and activities for the year. They want to hear from you about your park priorities and also want to know how they can partner. There will be child activities and snacks available. You can actually get additional information by going to parks.lacounty.gov/annual-community-meeting, or you can actually scan the QR code. Let me remove this banner real quick so you guys can see more. All right. And let's see what's next. Also today at Fair Oaks Burger, in conjunction with Rebuild Altadena, is Rebuilding Thursdays. It's going to go on from 5 to 7 p.m. Again at Fair Oaks Burger at 2560 Fair Oaks Avenue in Altadena. It's where you can learn how to save the most possible, all while supporting local businesses. You know what? I'm going to stick with that. I'm not going to talk about the other things at this point. We have tomorrow to discuss them. And I'll bring Tony back on. We are an hour and 11 minutes in. We'll go over the whole gamut tomorrow, in addition to things that are going on tomorrow. Unless, other things are going on tomorrow. We'll address those then. This is a nice show. I know you're not.
I was going to ask you about the SCE thing, but that can wait till tomorrow but there's coming up events, but they're not, I think, until the 25th. So that can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a few things related to that we can bring up too.
Okay.
Marcus had shared something with me for the 20th or so on Saturday. I'll share that with you guys tomorrow as well. It's a distribution event, and yeah, we'll definitely cover that information then. So great show, Tony. Usual, you're finding, great people to come on. They actually have this was interesting because it wasn't something that we kind of, would have anticipated in terms of looking at who we've been having on already, but it was very good information, and I'm glad that you had her on. Isa was great.
Yeah, Isa was great. There are some other people that will be coming on from USC that I met that day, but that'll be, further out. Just because I know one who had surgery, she really wants to meet with me and talk and come on. She talked to me about her capstone already. Next week, I don't have that yet. I may have announcements on that tomorrow, but there are some people that will be coming on. We might get Valerie rescheduled for the Altadena Historical Society for next week and a couple others, but I'm working on, whomever. I do want to just make mention, and we can talk about it more, the flyer for our October 25th event, which will be our barbecue up at Loma Alta Park. I'll probably have that tomorrow. There will be a QR code for people to sign up for that, and there will be a charge for that. That one is not a free event because it's barbecue. You got to pay for that, right? The November 22nd event, we do already have the QR code up for, and we'll show that tomorrow. We have the flyer and the actual QR code because people need to go to the Google form and sign up for it, so we know that you are planning on attending. There is no charge to those who come. We are trying to do between 800 and 1,000 people that we feed at this luncheon the Saturday prior to Thanksgiving. And then we have a different link and code for our Give Butter campaign. If anyone wants to be a sponsor, we've already had 2 sponsors that I worked with. Well, one I didn't work with. I got to call her today, find out who they are. That was a law firm. But the other one, we got a donation from someone that just came on in the last week and a half. And so we are taking sponsorships for this because we do want to not only make this a really, really nice event, but we want to give people gift cards as families when they leave, so that next week they have money for their Thanksgiving meal. So that flyer we do have, I need to get out with the QR code for people to sign up to attend. I need to get that over to the Altadena Rotary and some others that I've spoken with, and they're like, get us a flyer right away. So once you see that tomorrow here on the show and we give you that QR code, please go and sign up if you plan on attending, because that 800 to 1,000 people might be full in the next couple weeks. And we don't want anyone, to miss out on it for Altadenians and maybe even the Pasadenians who lost their homes, who are displaced, who are, just still, in the positions that they are in, unfortunately. So,
And Mark, yeah, no, that's a great point. I can't wait to have that information to share with everybody. And I think both events are going to be, number one, well attended and great events. When Tony and I walked the locations and started talking about the details, we both got pretty excited. Me in particular, I could just see the vision. I know she could as well. But being able to present something in Altadena for folks in Altadena, given what has transpired, huge, very, very huge. And then Brian says we match the background because you got your purple shirt on. I got the purple stitching in the hat. It's actually cool. We planned it that way, B. You just didn't know.
Well, I know when we did the walkthrough Monday, yeah, you could see it, but I saw the vision that night at 3 a.m. And then remember the next day I woke up telling you guys, and I was super excited. Like, you guys, we got to do this. And we got to do that. And so the fact that you now have that same excitement because we did the walkthrough and we were visualizing, and I was like, no, I want the tables here. And like, it is literally all in my brain. I know what I saw and I know what we plan on doing for Altadena. And so I'm super excited that you are just as excited. And you gave some great suggestions about some things that we should do for both. And I'm working on it. I'll just say that. But I'm excited. I think that both events will be something that's well received and much needed for the community. So yeah, we're excited.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say toodles and get something to help me, get all this stuff out, another cup of tea or whatever. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if we get more rain today and if it's cooler, or I think it's kind of humid outside right now,
it's
right?
Crazy humid. It's crazy humid.
Okay.
But everybody have a wonderful Thursday. Tune in tomorrow for episode 178. If you can believe that.
Lots of announcements for the weekend.
That's right. We look forward to seeing you then to wish you a TGI Friday. But enjoy your Thursday. We're out. Peace out.